Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Veronica.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
So, just going to ask you a couple questions.
Great.
Um, you found major success with Divergent, both critically and among your young adult fan base. How much pressure did that add to you as you conceived, wrote, and now prepared to promote this new book, Carve the Mark?
Well, I think there was always going to be pressure. There was no way to avoid it. But any writer who has written a first book knows the feeling of oh God, are they going to like the next one? And so I think it was just kind of the normal amount in my mind. And anytime you write books, you have to learn how to shut out other people to a certain degree, because otherwise you can't get anything done, and you're afraid to take risks because you're always thinking about, are they going to like this or that? So I just kind of used that skill again with Carve the Mark, and I did the best I could, and that was kind of like my motto through the whole thing. Just write the best book you can, and the rest is not in your control.
Okay. So, what inspired this book, and what exactly can you share about the plot?
Well, I'll give you my little elevator pitch for the book,
Okay.
if that works. So it's set in space, and it's about a young man named Akos who is kidnapped along with his brother and taken to this enemy country. And while he's there, he meets Syra, who is the sister of the dictator in that country, and she's got plenty of problems of her own. And they think that they can find a way to help each other, but it's kind of not clear to either of them whether they can actually succeed in doing that, or if the tension and war between their two cultures is too great to overcome. So that's kind of the basic plot. As far as the inspiration, I think I was around 12 when I came up with the very basic outline, which you would not recognize it as the same story if you read it, but it was just the idea of someone who's taken from their family and has to deal with that trauma and live among his enemies. This was really fascinating to me when I was young. I don't know why. And I just couldn't make it work. I wrote a lot of different versions of it. And then after Divergent was over, I thought I'd give it a try and see if I could make it work this time. And that's where Carve the Mark came from.
Okay, very cool. Definitely interesting that, you were able to come up with that when you were 12.
Well, it was just the very basic version of it, not not how it seems now.
I'm just going to say, I think when most of the rest of us were 12, it was probably, let's see, coming up with, I don't know, whatever book you had to read in English class, coming up with the right kind of book report. But, hey, some people could conceive the idea of a novel they'd have published however many years later. That's normal.
Sure.
So the book is part of a duology.
Yes.
Have you figured out what direction you might want to take things with yet on that second part of the story, or are you just going to focus on Carve the Mark for a while?
No, I'm kind of in the middle of writing the second one. Obviously not now, not this week, but when I'm finished with my book tour, I will just get right back to work. I have a pretty detailed outline, but outlines change. So right now I'm just I'm plodding away and seeing what works, and I've got a pretty good idea of where I want to take this story, but it's not set in stone.
Okay. So you have a pretty passionate fan base. What do you love most about them?
I think what I love is that this kind of contradictory thing that happens when I meet some of them. So to my face, in the signing line or something, they will be so visibly nervous and excited. And that kind of passion and excitement about a book is something that I just really love, and I wish didn't disappear for so many people when they get older. So I really I think we get kind of cynical as we get older, and it's so refreshing to see people who are not like that, who just are into something. And but then they'll slip me these little notes sometimes, and inside they'll share their thoughts about the book and what spoke to them, and maybe sometimes they tell me what didn't speak to them. They're very honest. And I find a lot of wisdom there. So it's really tempting to look at young women as just kind of excitable and silly. I think that's often how young women are discussed in the public arena, but That's not my experience of young women at all. I think of them as really passionate and really wise and just like figuring out who they are like any teenager, you know?
Okay. I only actually have one other question because I knew that you had a lot of interviews today. I didn't want to take up too much time. So hypothetically, let's say Carve the Mark finds the same success Divergent did, and they go, hey, we're going to make a movie out of this, and they ask you for input for that adaptation.
Yeah.
Who would be your dream cast?
Oh man, I am so bad at dreamcasts. I think because I just don't know enough like young actors to be able to say, and most of my focus would really be on like not so much like what the people look like as like how the kind of like emotions are transmitted, but it is a really diverse cast of characters in the book, so my hope would be that that would be represented on screen, and beyond that, I don't really have any specific ideas.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, it was nice to talk to you.
All right. It was nice to talk to you, too. And I hope that this book really does find that same success.
All right, thank you.